Hi, my name is Morgan, and I have read 22 books this year. Now, let me just say, that's a lot for me. I am kind of like a slow reader. I have other things to do sometimes, and I just do not want to read. Or sometimes, last year, I was eating up a lot, reading them, and I read 40 books at the end of the year. But I was also in school, and when I didn't have anything to do, that's kind of all I did. So this year, kind of got to balance life with reading, and proud of myself for reading 22 books. So I'm just going to show y'all some of the books that I've read so far this year, and if I recommend them or if I don't, and if I will read them again. If I'm going to read them again, that means they were like a 5-star, no, that's like a 6-star for me. 6-star read. Let's look at the books that I read this year, and let's grab them off my shelf. So the first book that I read in this series was actually an audiobook, and it was The Shack. I do not have a physical copy of it. I want to because I just love this book. Now, I am a Christian, so this book just blew me away on how showing and caring and stuff God can be. And it just was a nice palate cleanser for the year to start my year off with, just to finish that year, start with a new one. And that's what I kind of took it as. Loved it and will cherish that book for a while. I need to get the physical copy, but I'm kind of broke. Now, the second book I read this year was Ruthless Vows. Now, let me tell you, this book I could not put down. The first one, I ate it up. I think I read it like the night before New Year's Eve, and then I finished Ruthless Vows I think second day into the year, so January 2nd I think I finished it. But let me tell you, this book and the first book, when did the first book, Divine Rivals, I cannot tell you how deeply in love I was with this series. I was telling my boyfriend about every chapter. Like, I think this series made my heart happy. It was such a good book to just start this series off with. Now, I only would rank it 4 stars, and the reason for that is I loved it. I loved the plot, everything about it, but I don't think I would read it again. And the characters kind of didn't stick with me as much as I wanted them to, but I still loved it and deeply cherished this book. And it was such a unique plot line and storyline about it. I'm not going to give any spoilers because it's just rude if no one's read it. So let's just say you do have to read that. You do have to read it. Now, the third and fourth book I read this year was a audiobook and another audiobook. So the first book I read by Freida McFadden was Never Lie, and I just got on a tangent with them. So I read The Boyfriend, and then I read The Coworker. Both of those were just phenomenal to me. I don't know why Freida McFadden I never guessed the plot, or the big plot twist. Never can guess it. Never can guess anything about it, about what's supposed to happen. and I love those type of books. So I think I ranked them 4 stars or 3 stars. I'm not sure. But in my head right now, I think I would rank them 3 because I don't remember much with them. I just remember what happened, and that's kind of it. Like, at the time, I was just eating them up, reading. But now I would never read them again, but they definitely are just something to read and love. Now, the next book, I do have a physical copy, is Twilight. I deeply cherish the movies. I read them. I watch the movie series at least twice a year, maybe 3 times when I get bored. Usually I read them during Christmas. Usually I watch them during Christmas. I don't know why I keep saying reading. I've never read the series, but my boyfriend's parents gifted me the series during Christmas, so I've just been slowly reading them, which I'm loving the books, but it's kind of hard to just read it because you already know what's gonna happen and you're just kind of reading what's happening, but you already know what's happening. And I don't know, that's why it's so hard for me for Twilight, but I loved it so far. And then I did read the second one so far this year. I've only read the first 2 so far this year, but I do love them. I just need to get more reading into it, if that makes sense. Now, geez, this one I would give probably a 4. No, I think I gave it like 2 stars. And that's Court by Tracy Wolff. Now, the first book I read in like a week. It was so good, and they're thick. They're thick books. I read it in like a week. The second book, I ate it up. Read it, I think, in like 2 weeks. Third book, read it in, I think, a month. And then this book, it took me 3 months. That just kind of puts on how much I didn't want to pick it up at times. I read so many books and finished it before I finished this one that I don't know. I think it's because of how long these are and how many unnecessary things are in this book. But I think it's also the plot. Like, each plot is basically the same in each book. It's just a little different, and she adds a couple new characters. Which I loved the first 2 ones. The first 3, actually. The first 3 were amazing. But after that, it's dragging on. And I don't think I'm going to be finishing the series, so I give it a 2 stars. And I probably will not be reading it again, if that makes sense. The next series that I finished this year was One Dark Window. Now, I read both of them I just hit myself in the jaw. Okay, I read both of them this year, and I gave them 5 stars. I loved these books. I liked the gothic of it. It really reminded me of Frankenstein, like the writing in a way. Not like the old writing where they do like "thou shalt not kill," but like it was like a writing, like gothic, like the gothic style writing. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I loved the book Frankenstein. Every time I had to read it in school, I loved it. It's literally the next book that I read this year. But I don't have a physical copy of that one either. I read it on my Kindle. One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns was just probably like so unique of a storyline and unique of just everything she put into it. I didn't guess anything that happened. I was kind of confused on the first book, like a lot through it, but once I got more halfway through, I got over it and I realized what we were talking about, who we were talking about, what's happening, how the storyline is, and I really did enjoy it. I really did. I don't know if I'll read again. Maybe. If I do read it again, then it'll be put on the 6 stars. But for right now, it's 5 stars. Now the next one is Frankenstein. I just talked about that. I had to read it for school, and I loved it again. I don't know why, but that book is just so like deeply embedded in my soul by how much I had to like read it during school and stuff, that it just made everything seem so nice. And like knowing the background on why she did some of those things in the book, why Frankenstein acted like that, just blows my mind. Now if you don't want to like get so in depth with it, look it up on YouTube and you will love Frankenstein. I did, and I do, and I probably will read Frankenstein again, and so I'm rating it 6 stars. Now, The Hunger Games. That's another book that I read. Now, this is just like Twilight. I watch the movies probably twice or 3 times a year, and I had to get the books, and I got the books for Christmas as a gift, and I don't know if I'll read them again. Like, I watched the movies, but I don't know. I'm giving them 5 stars because I really do like them. But I've only read the first book so far, and it's the same thing with the Twilight ones. I've watched them so much that reading them is just kind of like, okay, I know what's happening. But I like with the books that like it's more in depth. There's more things that happen. There's more scenes that they didn't add in the movie. That's like probably the only thing that really keeps me going to want to digest it more. But if it's on my shelf, I gotta read it. So I'm reading it. Now, the next book I read was the first ever like non-fictional book that I read, not for school. And that's The House of My Mother. Now, I read this because I used to watch the Frankies YouTube videos when I was in like elementary. I loved their like videos and stuff. And then once it started getting weird, like I just started seeing things. I was growing up more, seeing how the mother was and stuff, and so I just kind of like backed off from it, and I got into other things. I kind of grew out of it. But when I found the documentary, I read that. Well, when I found the documentary, I watched that, and then I saw that she came out with a book, and the book is her. She wrote it. So like, that's why I was like, oh my goodness, I'm reading this. Like the documentary, the people kind of just put whatever they wanted and stuff, you know? But the book is her. It's her. Everything she wanted goes into this book. And she wrote it beautifully. I loved everything she wrote about it. I just think she didn't put anything in there that didn't need to be said. She didn't put any, like, it's her story, so like technically like everything needs to be said, you know? But just the way she wrote it, and I like that she put her own voice out by writing a book, and I had to support it. So I read the book and I bought it, and yeah. Now the next book I have, I went on a tangent and got rid of a whole bunch of books, and there's a couple books in here that I read that I am getting rid of or already did get rid of. Now this is a personal thing on why I got rid of them, and I'm not really gonna go into that. But the next book was Guild by Raven Kennedy. Now Guild, I think I would have really liked the series, but again, I got rid of it. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Now if you think you would like it, just read it, read the trigger warnings, and you'll be good. Now, the next book I read was Wild Eyes by Elise Silver. Let me tell you, I love this book. I ate it up. But I probably will not be reading it again or anything with this Elise Silver books. Like this series. The Wild series. But the series I will be reading again, and I'm reading one right now, is the Flawless series by Elise Silver. I don't know why. Probably because I started with this one first, then I just am more in love with this one than I am with Wild Eyes. But I don't know. I will be finishing the series, but I gave all of them like 3.5 or 4 stars. These are the only ones that I've actually given like 5 stars because I've really liked the series so far. I don't know why. I think I bonded with the characters more than I have with Wild Eyes, but that's my opinion. I did like the books though. Now, the next one is If I Only Had Told Her. Oh my goodness. I don't have the first one. Someone stole it from me and they never gave it back. Well, borrowed it, but they never gave it back, so I'm counting it as stealing. They stole it from me. And I don't remember who did it, so I can't get it back. But I read the second one and I cried, and let me just say, emotional damage to the max. This wasn't one of those books that like is like unnecessary and you didn't need to add it. No, I like this. A lot of books that they do and then they come out with a second book just to like add on to the story. A lot of it doesn't need to happen, but this one I just loved how it happened. So I think I gave this one like 4 stars, probably because I just won't read it again. But I really did like this one. Now, the next one I read was Lights Out, and this is the one that I'm getting rid of. I liked it, but won't read it again. I don't really remember much that happened, and I'm getting rid of it. So that's kind of all I'm saying about that one. And then is Onyx Storm. Onyx Storm was the type of book that I loved, but I was so ready for the ending because it's a big book. They're all big books, as you can see. But this book, I knew there was a big ending twist, so I was just waiting for the ending. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. But I'm mad. I'm mad with how this ended. So if you will just come out with the next one, like now, I'll be fine. Rebecca Rose. Like, come on, Rebecca Rose. I think I said the first word wrong. Okay. It's fine. Okay. And then I read Powerless and Powerful. Now, I read these two. I read this one like last year, beginning of the year. Read it, loved it, put it down. And then I figured out she came out with 4 more books. Or 3 more. I think 3 more, and she's coming out with a 4th. I think it's 3. About 3 more. And I didn't really remember everything that happened in this book. And usually, instead of like rereading it, because sometimes I'm like so long in the series that I just like watch a quick YouTube video with a recap, I did. And I didn't remember half the things that happened. Usually it like clicks in my mind and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember everything. I did not. So I reread it, and then I read Powerful, and then I cried. And let me just say, it's emotional damage. And I still have Reckless, and I'm Fearless. Is that the second book page? Yeah, Reckless and Fearless to go. Pray for me. Just pray for me. Speaking of praying for me, the next book I finished was Releasing 10. This was, I think, like 600 pages of emotional damage. That's what I'm describing this. Holy cow. Like, if you didn't really connect with the characters' last books, like, I hated Lizzie. I hated her. I thought she was such an annoying character that just hated on everyone because she was just a hateful character. But now I understand, and I feel so bad for her. No, she's not one of my favorites right now, because it's just a lot to process. Because a lot of things the way she handled things, even though she was mentally ill, just, I don't know. She's not my favorite, but I still, I feel so bad. I hated her, and now I feel so bad, because she's just, everything that happened makes sense. I'm going back, like, oh, I gave all of her books, like, 5 stars. 6 stars because I will be rereading them. I will be rereading the whole series probably sometime. They're just a series that I've so deeply connected with the characters in another level that I have to reread sometimes. It's like a show that you have to reread. That's how I feel about that. But I cried the whole book. I had to take, it took me, I think, a whole month to read it. Because I just was crying. Now, I had to read a light and fluffy book after that, which was The 7-Year Slip. Now, this was a cute, just little book to read that palate cleansed the pages of freaking doom. This one was just way better and happier than freaking doom. Maybe that's why I rated this one such high stars. It took me a little bit to get through it, and I think that's just because it was kind of slow. But then once it got past the slow, it was speeding up, everything was connecting, and I just needed to know the ending. And let me just say, I love her. I will probably be getting more books by Ashley Poston. Is it? I don't know how to say your last name, but that's what I will be getting more of. Now, if you loved my book review, give me a like and a follow, because this is my first YouTube video. Now, I know this sucked probably, but I'm just wanting to share my love for books and my opinions on books. And if you don't like them, totally fine. Just go find someone else that likes your books, because everyone is different, and that's totally fine. If I have mixed reviews about books and you just cannot deal with that, go find someone else. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. I'm just on here to talk about my books and feel like I'm being heard. That's all that I'm doing. And if you do like the books that I'm reading, stay along. If you don't, but you were like, okay, she kind of cool, follow, stay. Because I'm going to be trying to post a lot of my reading. And that's all I'm going to say. Well, I hope you liked my video. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next video. Bye!